Apple's September event could be absolutely ridiculous this year. And I don't mean here's a new iPhone, here's a new watch, thanks for watching. We could be looking at one of Apple's biggest hardware events in years, with the iPhone 18 Pro, Apple Watch upgrades, Apple's first foldable iPhone, new home devices, and possibly even more surprises. But there is one product that changes this entire event. The iPhone Ultra. Because after watching Samsung and Google make foldables for years, Apple finally looks ready to jump in. And if Apple gets this right, September might be remembered as the moment the iPhone completely changed shape. So what exactly are we getting, and which product should you actually care about? Let's get into it. First, the date. Right now, Wednesday, September 9th looks like the big day. Apple hasn't officially locked everything down yet, but the timing makes a lot of sense, especially with Labor Day falling on Monday. And this event is important for another reason. John Ternus is taking over as Apple's CEO, meaning this could be the first huge iPhone launch of a completely new Apple era. We've watched Ternus talk about Macs, chips, titanium, and basically every shiny piece of hardware Apple can put on a table. But running the entire show, that's different. And what a first major event this could be. Because let's start with the monster in the room, Apple's foldable iPhone. Call it iPhone Fold, iPhone Ultra, whatever Apple eventually puts on the box, this thing could steal the entire keynote. We're expecting a book-style design that opens into a much larger display, basically giving you an iPhone and a small iPad in the same device. But Apple has a problem. People have already seen foldable phones. So simply making an iPhone that bends isn't enough. Apple needs a great hinge, a barely visible crease, strong battery life, and most importantly, a reason for normal iPhone users to spend potentially more than $2,000. Yeah, your wallet just left the chat. Would you actually pay that much for a foldable iPhone? Because that's going to be the big question. Then we have the phones most people will actually buy, iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. These are expected to bring Apple's new A20 Pro chip, reportedly built using a 2nm process. We're also hearing about camera improvements, including a possible variable aperture system, plus display upgrades and other internal changes. The regular iPhone 18, however, may not even join them in September. Apple is reportedly splitting the lineup, with the cheaper standard iPhone arriving later. That would make September much more focused on premium hardware. And then come the watches. Apple Watch Series 12 and Apple Watch Ultra 4 are both expected to be part of the conversation. The Ultra is already a pretty extreme watch, so I'm curious what Apple does next. Better battery. A thinner design. New health features. Or will Apple show us another slightly different shade of titanium and spend 7 minutes explaining how beautiful it is? We'll find out. But here's where this event could get much more interesting. Apple may finally start taking the living room seriously. A refreshed Apple TV has been rumored, alongside a second-generation HomePod Mini and Apple's mysterious smart home display. And honestly, the HomePod Mini needs some love. The original arrived back in 2020. 6 years in technology is basically retirement age. But these products aren't interesting individually, it's what Apple could do when they all work together. Imagine Apple TV handling entertainment, HomePod handling audio and Siri, and a dedicated home screen controlling lights, cameras, music, calendars, calls, and your smart home devices. Suddenly, Apple isn't just updating a streaming box. It's building a proper home ecosystem. And with the new Siri and Apple Intelligence push behind it, this could finally be Apple's serious answer to Google and Amazon in the smart home. There are also rumors around more advanced AirPods, although the exact timing remains much less clear. And then there's the Mac Mini. Apple's tiny desktop is becoming ridiculously powerful. The new lineup brings an M6 Mac Mini at the standard level, while the more expensive machine uses M5 Pro. Yes, newer number on the cheaper Mac, older number on the expensive one. Classic Apple naming. But the M6 brings stronger CPU and graphics performance, major AI improvements, faster memory, and newer connectivity. Meanwhile, M5 Pro is aimed at people who genuinely need more cores, more memory, and sustained professional performance. So don't buy Pro because the word looks cool on the box. Buy it if your workload actually needs it. And that brings us to the bigger picture. This event isn't really about 8 separate products. It's about Apple pushing into almost every screen around you. Your phone, your wrist, your ears, your television, your home, and your desk. The iPhone Ultra will probably get the headlines, but Apple's home strategy might end up being the bigger long-term story. So here's my question. If you could choose only one product from this event, what are you taking? The foldable iPhone Ultra, iPhone 18 Pro Max, Apple Watch Ultra 4, new Apple TV, or the Mac Mini? For me, I just want to see whether Apple can make its first foldable feel like a finished Apple product instead of a $2,000 science experiment. Because if they pull that off, September 9th could be one of those Apple events people remember for years. Drop your pick in the comments and tell me which product you want to see first. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, subscribe for more Apple leaks, comparisons, and upcoming coverage. I'll see you in the next one.